let's take a different view on the fate and future of the president now. And Frans Baleni, the former NUM Secretary-General, joins me to share a slightly different dimension. Frans, good evening to you and welcome. This may all hit a little differently for you. You're his close friend, his ally, former union leader. In this moment, and given the developments today, what can you tell us about how the president is really feeling behind the scenes?
Good afternoon, Iman and Sibongwe, and to the viewers. Clearly, it's a sad moment for all of us, not only the president. Knowing the president, he gave his best, and he wanted to deliver as much as he can in terms of the mandate he was given. These are side issues and very upset. And I think, Iman, to me, this focus is misplaced. We're talking about whatever is alleged, about 580,000 or 9 or 10 million rand, when there are real issues confronting South Africa. 12 billion rand has been lost through corruption in municipalities, as reported by the AG. Why is this the focus?
Well, here's the difficulty, Frans. One doesn't cancel out the other. South Africa is looking for accountability on every act of corruption, wherever it is found. And in fact, this might do a disservice to the president's own reputation and stand on corruption and accountability if we're stacking it up against an already problematic problem of corruption in South Africa.
Iman, the problem is that everybody is investigating this matter. You have the public protector, you have got the security cluster who are investigating, and Parliament take a shortcut of 30 days to investigate and come up with a finding. When these other institutions have not concluded their work, surely there's something wrong about this.
Well, what do you think is wrong? What does the president say is wrong with this picture?
I mean, the report, I've read the report, not being a lawyer, but this report in law and in facts is flawed.
You talk about Phala Phala being explainable. How would you put that in a simple way for our viewers to understand?
I don't want to explain Phala Phala. The president is best to explain the issue of Phala Phala. All I'm saying is that you can't have a report based on hearsay evidence submitted by third parties, and you come up with findings. In the body of the report, you say, we didn't have much time, we didn't have relevant information we needed, we could not question or oral evidence, but you come up with findings. Clearly there's something wrong with that.
If I may, and you grant me the license to do so, Frans Baleni, just judging by the way that you're framing this, it almost, one might say, does this reflect the president's own frame on the matter, that this is a discredited, finding, that he is going to fight this and take this on review? And one imagines that as a confidant, he would have reached out to you for advice. Is this what he's asking and saying, and is that what you're advising him on?
Iman, I won't speak on behalf of the president. He has a lot of spokesperson and advisors. I'm speaking as knowing him for many, many, many years. I'm not saying what is his thought right now. All I'm saying is that this report, there's clearly some deficiencies, and it can be easily challenged. The president has to do the right thing, consider this report, and do what is in the best interest of the country.
There is a conflict of what that right thing and what the best interest of South Africa is right now, depending on who you ask. If you ask, those in the NEC, for example, this is a matter that they are having to apply their minds with, and hopefully we have an answer by Sunday. But the matter is not cut and dried. And we heard some earlier reports about the president potentially resigning and then being convinced not to. Tonight, as we speak, in this immediate moment, is the president going to fight this?
Iman, there's a bigger picture. We have been getting calls from New York, London, you name it, including a number of other investors who are worried about this development because they want stability, they want the leader they know, they want a leader they trust, they want a leader who's ethical, whom they have entrusted, and who they trust for future in terms of investment. Now, this uncertainty creates a lot of problems. So we've got to stabilize the country and bring certainty. The president should continue leading this country and do the right thing and ensuring that he clear his name through all various processes which are in place.
So, Frans, it sounds like you're not convinced he's sunk, are you?
Well, I'm not convinced, really. We've got to focus on the bigger picture. And yeah, that's the best way to do.
What's been the advice? And take us into your confidence, Frans. And here's the reason why. In the beginning, you talked about a number of investigations, that are still underway and unresolved or undetermined insofar as the Phala Phala matter is concerned. And you also talked about other people, being tainted with the brush of corruption and the scandal of corruption in our country. The stark difference is we're talking about the head of state. We're talking about the president of this country whose fate affects every single one of us. And so it's different when we're talking about Cyril Ramaphosa. And against that backdrop, I would like for you to share with us, take us into your confidence, the advice of you and others in his inner circle, and also share with us who's in that inner circle. Who's got the ear of the president, or whose ear does he have right now?
Look, I don't know who are in the ears of the president, but knowing the president as an ethical and morally right-standing person, I would never support the president when he has done something wrong. I'll be the first one who would say, if he has been involved in any corrupt activities, to say he must go, right? In this case, clearly he's a victim of criminals, and we are pursuing and chasing a victim. Nobody talks about who are these criminals at all. Is that not strange?
But there are diverging voices from what we understand within the party on the issue of accountability and how the president has to come clean and whether or not the rule and the letter of the law has been followed since the very beginning. And so it undermines that clarity of position that you have right now in saying, he hasn't done anything wrong. And perhaps that will be the detriment to the president because in a sense, it's colored his approach on how he's approached the nation on this issue.
Maybe more explanation should have been given quite earlier, sharing information about this matter. When it comes to his party, and I said it in other media outlets, it's so sad that you've got the president who's being attacked from internally. Right from 2017, there are people who have been calling for his head, who said it's only 5 years, and they're continuing up to now, right? And I'm not saying people must support wrongdoing. Individual in the leadership, they must be able to correct one another. If a person is wrong, that must be done. Correction must be, corrective measures must be put in place. In this instance, that president, there's a number of people who have never supported him from day one because they didn't like it.
Yeah. Do you think in this moment, France, they are gathering strength, these political and other rivals that you were talking about, and, thinking that they have reason to claim victory tonight, that the president is indeed on the ropes? What are you hearing about how those opposition forces inside the ANC are collating their power and gathering their power tonight?
We're aware of people who are mobilizing, who are quite excited, who are celebrating, and they think that they will be able to push him out. And for us, and for me in particular, is to do the right thing about South Africa. It's not necessarily about the ANC. South Africa comes first. Because the ANC can come and go, we will remain having South Africa.
Frans Baleni, are you willing to share any names?
No.
We leave it right there. Former NUM Secretary-General Frans Baleni, thank you for talking to us tonight.